Hey guys, I'm sorry it's been a while. We just moved into a new house and these past few weeks have been all over the place. But let's not waste time. Let's jump right into it. So, I don't want to be pedantic here, but as I was watching the conversation between Alex O'Connor and Francis Collins, something Collins said made me pause. Now, Mr. Collins is a Christian, a physician who discovered genes for various diseases and led the Human Genome Project. Alex O'Connor was an atheist, now an agnostic. Pretty well known, and I watch his stuff often enough. As a Christian, I find these discussion helpful for questions I haven't thought of before.
Is there a God? I defy anybody to come up with one that matters more than that. I don't want to go all the way to Pascal's wager, but if there is a God and God cares about me and I'm ignoring that, that feels like a really bad way to live your life, much less whatever comes after. If there isn't a God and I'm wasting my time by worshiping something that's not there, that's a really bad outcome too. This is a really important question.
Now, before I jump in, I want to make it clear I'm not saying I totally disagree with Collins or that he's in the wrong. I'm just pointing out something he might not be considering. Because, see, that framing, like it's a coin toss with bad odds either way, kind of overlooks the deep personal transformation that comes when you genuinely pursue God, or what I'd call the ultimate good. If there's no God and you're worshiping nothing, it might look like you're wasting your time, but here's the kicker. I if you're sincerely following Jesus, like really taking the Bible seriously, it's going to change you. You find peace and joy because there's this journey Jesus calls us to walk, this path that aims at the highest possible good. And okay, it might sound like Jordan Peterson would say, but even if God didn't exist, you'd still have that upward aim, which gives you a sense of hope and purpose. You aim to be more loving, compassionate, honest. So it's not just an empty ritual. It's real. It's a real transformation that shapes who you are. You become more patient, more forgiving, more aware of your own flaws. Meaning, if God turned out to be a figment of the imagination, you still gain a richer sense of self and a moral framework that guides your life. On the flip side, if God does exist, but you opt not to worship Him, it isn't just about landing on the wrong side of some cosmic scoreboard. It's more like missing out on a relationship with the source of goodness itself. If God represents everything that's true and beautiful, then rejecting Him is basically refusing the best water in the desert because you're not sure it's real. But you end up depriving yourself of spiritual nourishment, or psychologically speaking, cutting yourself off from the deepest sense of meaning you could have. Then you've got the historical question. Jesus really walked this earth. There's evidence for him that, from my standpoint, might even be stronger than what we have for someone like Julius Caesar. He's not just a story in an old book. His influence has shaped entire civilizations, and he still inspires radical acts of love and sacrifice. If Jesus' teachings really do link us to truth, moral clarity, and sense of cosmic purpose, that's a huge amount of substance for what some people claim is just made up. And that circles back to what I call upward aim. Throughout history, faith has offered people a direction beyond just survival or passing desires. Some call it the kingdom of God. Others talk about it as the highest moral standard. If you walk that road sincerely, you may sense a peace that suggests that there's something genuinely divine guiding you. And once you feel that, you see that faith is more than placing bets on whether God exists. It's about real transformation and aligning yourself with something infinitely bigger than your own perspective, which is where I think Francis Collins' line of thought misses a bit of the richness and beauty. Authentic worship, when it's genuine, it changes you from inside out. It's not about cowering in your fear that God's going to smite you. It's about a relationship with the source of love, truth, and moral goodness. If God's real, you've got the privilege of living a deeply meaningful journey. If God's not, well, you've still aimed your life at compassion, hope, and moral excellence. There's really no downside, is what I'm saying. And if you're curious about the historical evidence for Jesus, ancient documents, how Christianity spread, feel free to let me know in the comments down below, and maybe we'll dive into that next time. But for now, just remember this. This upward aim isn't just wishful thinking. It's a real path, one that, in my view, leads straight back to the God who started it all. So if you like this video, please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
I mean, think of this question of God's existence. You sit down at the pub with somebody and you're talking about God, and you could go anywhere with this person. If I meet a Christian in a pub and say, "Why do you believe in God?" I might be about to talk about physics. I might be about to talk about beauty and poetry, or history, or biblical scholarship. There's so much contained in this world of discussion that even if you're just interested in science, or you're just interested in ethics, or you're just interested in history, this like God question just allows you to explore all of that. So it's interesting. What is it Lewis said about I don't know if he was talking about the resurrection particularly, or about Christianity, that it's either the most important truth in the world, or if it's not true, then it's like trivially false. The one thing it can't be is
uninteresting or
is sort of important. It's either the most interesting or the least interesting question in the world. It can't be kind of important. And so why is this important? Well, if God exists, as Dr. Collins says, it is the most important question that exists. If God doesn't exist and all of this is fabricated or mistaken, then more important questions would include things like, what are we going to have for dinner tonight? And, what's your favorite song? Right? Because if it's untrue, whatever, it's sort of inconsequential. But in that sort of Pascalian spirit, as long as there is that possibility of that truth, the sort of infinitude of utility that comes from that makes it probably worth exploring even for an atheist.